The second report that we want to take a look at is the coverage report. So if you navigate back to the overview page within Google Search Console, the second report that you see is the coverage report. Coverage just means that Google is covering or indexing pages on your website within search results. Ideally, we want almost all or all of our website pages indexed and covered by Google. Similar to the performance report, this report has 4 different metrics that it shows you. It uses stoplights. Basically, red means there's an error. A lot of times there's a 404 error, meaning that you've moved a page without setting up a redirect. So if the URL that Google has indexed doesn't match the URL of where the actual content is, you'll get a 404 error. And those are pretty serious. You want to take care of any of those issues as quickly as possible. The second one is valid with warnings. I don't think I've ever actually had pages show up as valid with warnings. If you do have pages show up there, just navigate to the URL that's showing up as valid with warnings and resolve any issues. Those could be issues like a page that's not responsive, buttons showing up too large, making it impossible to read. Potentially a page on your website is unstyled, so that would be another warning that Google would flag and bring to your attention. The third metric is valid pages. These are pages that you have told Google to index, and they are currently showing up in search results. And then the last one is excluded. You might have a question here as to why you would want to exclude pages from the index. Sometimes you have pages on your website that are, especially if you're a larger company, that are just sort of navigational pages. It may be a form that people are using to register for an exclusive event, something that you don't want showing up in search results. Maybe it's new features that you're working on for your app that you only want beta customers to be aware of. So those are things that you wouldn't want to show up in search results. So we have a specific way where we can tell Google which pages we want to index and show up in search and which pages we want to exclude. And specifically, that is the sitemap. So a sitemap is just a URL that we send to Google that has a list of all the valid pages on our website. We'll cover a sitemap a little later on in this course, but for now, just know it's the map that Google uses to find and index pages on your website. Sometimes you'll have pages that are indexed, but were never actually in your sitemap. So when Google crawls your website, it not only crawls the pages you tell it to crawl, but it also is going to crawl any of the links on those pages. If those pages are linking out to other places on your website, potentially Google is finding and indexing pages of your site that you might not want it to index. So that's how you would tell Google through the sitemap which pages you want indexed and which pages you don't want indexed. We'll go through later on, again, how to submit that sitemap, and also how on those pages that you want to exclude, how to no index them. Both pretty easy to do. It only takes a minute, and really quickly you can have your website, all your pages valid and indexed, and this report will tell you once you've done that.